What's up, all my fellow hustlepreneurs? Welcome to episode 10 of the Hustlepreneur Life Podcast. On this episode, I'm super excited because I have Branden coming on. Branden wholesales and flips houses. So this is something I want to do in the future. So I'm really excited to talk to him because I have a lot of personal questions I want to ask him. Learn a little bit about how to make some money wholesaling properties and flipping properties. I mean, real estate is really how you build wealth. Like I said, I just became a mortgage loan officer recently, so I'm jumping into that industry. And me and my dad, in a couple of years, we definitely want to be flipping houses, maybe full time, but definitely part time. Just making money that way. So I'm interested in talking to Branden today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on. Branden, how are you, man?
Yeah, man. Good Sunday morning. Can't complain.
Nice. So yeah, like I said, obviously I brought you on. I know you wholesale and flip homes and are in the real estate industry, kind of as an independent person. You don't really work for a company, correct? You have your own company.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So
my own.
Explain a little bit. Just kind of tell us how long have you been doing this, and then explain a little bit about your company.
Yeah. So I've been doing it going on 6 years now. I originally started wholesaling. I started, wholesaling. I think it's the easiest way to build capital. So that's what I did. And little by little, started doing a flip or two, and just ended up here. My company, what we do, it's called Prop Hunters. We target distressed sellers. That could be a number of reasons. And we get those properties under contract, and we either wholesale them or we close on them, flip them, or we keep them as rentals.
Yeah, so like I noticed, I was going through your Instagram, and it seems like you guys, like some of the stories you guys post, I mean, those houses are rough, like rough.
I've seen it all.
Yeah, so those rough ones, are you wholesaling those? Are you flipping them, or you kind of decide, like, what's the deciding factor?
So it depends on the numbers, to be honest. It depends how bad the house is, because clutter can be taken out. For example, a hoarder house, demo's going to be the biggest thing, and taking out all the garbage and stuff like that. But if the numbers work, I always try to wholesale first, just because you avoid problems with cities holding the house. There's a lot more liability of holding the house. So if I can make close to what I would make on a flip or something equivalent given the time, then I'll definitely just wholesale it to another investor.
Yeah, so explain a little bit about wholesaling, because everybody, I think, kind of, they watch HGTV or whatever, so they have an understanding of what flipping a home is. It's kind of like, you see that on TV, but wholesaling is something I've learned about in the last year, and it is somewhat confusing to me also, just kind of how it works, like legally and everything. So just kind of give a basic definition or kind of what wholesaling is and how you go about that.
So wholesaling is pretty simple. I think people just overthink it a little bit. But if you break it down to just, you get a property under contract, whether you got it off market, on market, doesn't matter as long as the numbers work. And you can either choose to close on that property and rehab it and then sell it to the end buyer, or you could take that same contract and assign it to another investor for a fee, and then they can go ahead and deal with fixing it up and selling it to the end buyer. The difference is you make your money up front, a couple weeks, couple days at times, compared to when you got to fix and flip it, where it could take 90, 120, 180 days.
Now, I bought a home before, or I own my house, and like when we went under contract, like we had to give up our W-2s, we had to give up all this information to show that we would qualify to buy the house. So when you're wholesaling, you go through that whole process also as if you were going to buy the house with, like, say, a mortgage broker or a loan officer. Is that the same?
So usually these houses, they're in some sort of distress. Usually they're not financeable. Okay. So you wouldn't be able to buy them traditionally through a qualified mortgage. You'd have to buy them either cash or what's called hard money.
Okay.
And then hard money is pretty much the same as cash. It's viewed on, but it's a private lender. Interests are usually anywhere from, they can go as low as 8 to as high as 15%. Just depends on experience and where you can get and how much you're dealing with.
So when you approach, say, a real estate agent, or you're approaching just the owner of the house and you're pretty much offering them what, cash, or are you saying you have hard money lenders, that can
I offer
like
them cash.
okay, so they don't need to see
Correct. Yeah.
proof that
No, they
of the
just need
cash.
to see a proof of funds or a letter from your hard money lender stating that, I have the money and I'm going to close for him. I'm giving
Right.
him a private loan, no
Okay.
appraisals, no contingencies, none of that stuff. So it's pretty much literally the same as cash.
So when you first started, what was your first wholesale? Was it hard money, or you actually saved up the cash in your bank to be able to show that you had the cash to buy the house?
So my first wholesale deal, I'll never forget it because it's the first,
Yeah.
I got it from an online auction. It was an apartment in Hialeah, Florida. And what I did is I put the deposit down, which was $1,500 at the time. And I knew it was a deal. I knew I was going to be able to sell it.
Right.
And then I ended up selling it in a couple hours to an investor friend of mine. And pretty much just put the name on his contract. And that's it. I got paid a fee at closing.
So
I just had to put, I think it was $1,200 if I'm not mistaken.
So how much was the house worth? Oh, did we lose?
$500.
Oh, hold on. I think you cut out a little bit. How much was it? You said
$3,500.
the whole the house, the whole house.
Oh no, the apartment.
No,
man,
okay,
I think the apartment was like $60,000.
Okay. Yeah.
What I ended up making on my side was about $3,500.
Nice, and all you had to upfront was a $1,200 what earnest?
$1,200.
Was that an earnest deposit?
Yeah, earnest. Yeah, correct. Earnest money deposit, which I ended up getting back at the end when it closed.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice. So you go under contract. And then how long do you have? Is it the same as kind of closing, like how long do you have to assign it or buy it?
That all depends on the contract you use. Okay. Usually I'll buy no inspection all the way up to 15 days inspection. Just depends on how bad the house is and how much I want to take a look at the house. So I know if it's a good deal, it's a pretty clean house, I'll buy no inspection. Because usually if I buy no inspection, that means I'm committed and I'm going to close on it. And I could also use that to my advantage to negotiate a lower buying price. Now, if it's like something that I'm not sure, on the numbers, then I'll probably try and put, the contract, not lose anything, as long as I withdraw between that time.
Right. Now, when you go under contract, are you going under contract already knowing, like, when do you determine, like I said, is it a flip or a wholesale, like after you're in contract or prior to going into contract?
So for me, at least, everybody's different. For me, it depends the area. If I really like the area, I'll take it down. Okay. If it's like an easy deal, I like cookie cutters. I try to keep, the best of the best. Or if there's just such a large spread on the assignment, then I'm just like, it makes more sense to assign it and make 30 instead of waiting, 4 months to make 40. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I go into it always flipping first with my intention to keep it, because I don't like to lock up houses now at this stage if I'm not going to take them down myself.
Right.
I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste the seller's time. But yeah.
Now,
that's pretty much how I go into it.
When you first started, how did you find investors to assign properties to? Was it so it was like 5 years ago, so I don't know if maybe Facebook groups were like that popular back then. So like how? No,
Craigslist.
Craigslist. Okay.
Craigslist, and you gotta get creative. A lot of networking events. Yeah. They're literally there. They're literally like, hey, I need deals. And also with Craigslist, if you have a good deal and you put it on Craigslist, your phone's gonna blow up. Yeah. Even to this day. Or now you have Facebook Marketplace, you have Bigger Pockets, you have all these different sites.
Now, it's hard for me to always understand, okay, you lock in maybe a deal at $60K, or say, I guess we're in Florida, so maybe it's a little bit more like $120K or something. And then you get an investor that's willing to take it from you for, say, 140 or something like that. Like, it's weird. It's like a weird concept for me to think that they're willing to pay 20 grand more knowing that you're only paying 120 for it, like, how does that conversation work? Or how does that work?
Well, as long as your numbers work. I've bought houses from other investors where they're making $100,000 off of me, and I don't mind, because at the end of the day, I'm comfortable buying that house at that purchase price, and I'm going to make money too. I don't care what they make. Nobody should care what the other person makes. You should be happy for them. And as long as it works for you and the numbers work for you, and that's all that matters.
What makes that investor want to buy the house or take on the house that you have compared to just finding one themselves? Or like,
Well,
what makes them do that?
yeah. Well, if you're an investor, let's say you're flipping 2 or 3 houses, four or more, you don't have time to go through the marketing that I put on, talk to all the sellers that I talk to. You just don't have the time. You're worried about your main business, which is getting these houses fixed up, dealing with the contractors, dealing with the realtors, and so forth. So that's the advantage that wholesalers bring to the table to other investors.
Now, so they're trusting you that you did the inspection, that you like vetted the property, and they're kind of like trusting you, or they're going to go through and do all their
No, they're gonna
their
go
stuff.
through and do all they're gonna go through it. They're gonna go visit the property. Once I have it under contract, let's say I send it to you. Hey, check this property out. I think you're gonna like it. Oh, perfect. Let me go see it. All right, perfect. I'll meet you there. We walk through the house. You tell me what you think. You make me an offer. Okay.
Okay. Now
they won't see how much you're making till the end, technically.
Right. Are they basically when you find the investor, do you kind of stick like at this point? Do you have a solid like? Basically, are you flipping your wholesale properties to like the same investors at this point, or are you constantly finding new investors?
It depends on the property. So if it's like an area where I do a lot of business, like let's say Miami Gardens or North Miami, then I have a bunch of buyers on my contact list where I can just call them and be like, hey, I have this. I know you're gonna buy it. I know you're a good buyer first. Yeah. Or if it's like a trickier deal where I don't know the area or I'm unsure of the numbers, then I'll look for buyers. It's very easy. You can go on my property search or your local tax assessor site and look up the buyers, go to Sunbiz, look up their LC, it gives you the address. You can literally just Facebook these people and send them a message.
Now,
like, hey, I saw you bought this. Would you be interested in this? And it's 2 blocks away and $5,000 cheaper what you bought it for.
Right. And you can tell it's an investor, right? Because normally when you look at the house that they bought, like if it's run down looking and stuff like that, you can pretty much tell that's
correct,
an investor.
Yeah. Or
right?
Based on price.
Based on price, yeah. I think your connection keeps freezing up every now and then. Like you're frozen right now. Let me pause it real quick. All right, we're back. All right, so yeah, basically my whole thing with wholesaling always is just like, it seems scary in a sense. Like almost flipping a home seems more, in my opinion, like I know what I'm doing more. Where it's like, I mean, maybe that's just what it is. Is maybe that with flipping a house, like I understand that concept a little bit more than wholesaling for whatever reason. Have you how long, or have you ever been stuck with a property basically? Like you were trying to wholesale it, but you just couldn't get it wholesaled?
Yeah, a bunch of times. There are properties that you think they're a deal, especially in the beginning, where you're learning your market, you're learning your numbers. You're really trying to sharpen your skills. Where unfortunately it's not a deal, or I can't move it for whatever reason, and I do have to cancel out. As you grow as an investor and as a wholesaler, you kind of learn to master your numbers, and basically not waste your time or the seller's time. So like I said, now I won't lock up a deal unless I'm going to keep it myself.
Right. Now, so you can cancel. So that's I guess something good to go over.
Yeah, of course you can cancel. Yeah. With it, you have in a contract, you have an inspection period. So
right.
Within that inspection period, you can cancel at any time.
Now, what would make you cancel? Basically, only if you couldn't find a wholesale, or obviously, do you do an inspection prior to wholesaling off, or you try to wholesale it prior to you having to spend any money?
So the whole process, I'm talking to the seller with whatever marketing, either they call me from a letter or a text or a cold call, whatever it may be, and I meet with them at the house. I go through the house, because one thing is what they tell you, and another thing is what you see.
Right.
I've been in a lot of houses where they tell you, just patch and paint. I get there, the house is destroyed.
Right.
So you walk them through the house, like, hey, the roof, this and that, the crawl space needs to be, the joist needs to be switched, and this and that, and then you negotiate there in person, way better over the phone.
Okay.
And once you get that deal under contract, you have that time period, whatever you elect on the contract, up to 15 days. So you can put, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, whatever it may be, and you have that time period to sell it.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's normally how long? Is there a standard time, or you can negotiate that with the?
It's whatever you put on the contract, because in the contract you both have to initial and sign.
Okay.
So it's whatever you mutually agree to.
Now you have your own contracts that you created, or you got contracts?
I use the regular Florida FAR bar. I'm a
Okay.
realtor, So I use a regular Florida 4-bar contract.
Okay, even for wholesale, because I've seen like other, I guess you can call them
Yeah,
YouTube wholesalers that say, they have
they
these
use like a
special
one-page
contracts.
contract.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it. It's all to whatever you're gonna do, but I like using just a regular 4-bar. I feel like it makes people more comfortable.
Okay.
Saying like, hey, this is issued by the state of Florida, the DPR, and all that stuff.
Now,
compared to like, hey, this is a one-page contract.
Right. Are all contracts assignable? Like even the FAR, how does that
So
work?
the 4-bar, you have assignability. So you would check off there like, hey, this contract is assignable or this contract's not assignable. So let's say a contract they don't want you to sign it for whatever reason, then that's fine too. You could just do what's called a double closing, which means you close on your A to B and then you resell to the investor on your B to C, but you have to close on your A to B.
Yeah. So you just pay the closing costs and anything normal like that.
It's double the closing cost technically because you have two closings.
Right.
So it's going to cost you more money.
Yeah.
So it's way easier to sign deals.
All right. Well, I mean, I think I have an understanding of wholesaling. So if somebody wanted to start wholesaling today, what would be the best probably place or resource of knowledge would you kind of point them to? Like, hey, find YouTubers and watch it, or join wholesale groups on Facebook, or like you said, you mentioned networking events. Like, where does a person begin if they wanted to start wholesaling at this point?
I would try obviously gaining. So when I was learning, I would eat, sleep, breathe real estate. So podcasts, books, YouTube videos, or what I call YouTube University, because you could literally learn everything on YouTube.
Right.
That's where I learned. I was a wholesaler before I became a realtor.
Yeah.
So as long as you're watching the right people and the right content, you're going to learn a lot. Even if you have to watch 100 videos, but if you pick up one nugget from, each little video, your knowledge is going to get so much, expand so much more. I would start off like Bigger Pockets, YouTube, go to local networking events and just talk to people. It's not a hard business. I promise. It's really not. It's a marketing business first and foremost.
Yeah. So if you were going to jump into it, would you go ahead and you just get on Zillow, get on Realtor, or like how do you find the properties basically when you're first starting?
So when you're first starting, you gotta get creative. Because you're going to be competing with other investors. Bigger investors that have teams and all this stuff. The way I do it, for example, I buy lists. I buy lists on ListSource, PropStream, Batch, and you could buy lists of, let's say, 55 and older. People that are 55 and older that have a house with 4 more bedrooms. Most likely their kids are moved out. They don't need that big of a space. Let's say they've owned it for 15 plus years. That's somebody that would be more inclined to sell.
Right.
Other lists include like tax delinquencies, people that haven't paid their taxes in 2 years.
Yeah.
So you could buy a list of that. You could target those people by cold calling them, write them a letter. You could text them. You can message them on Facebook. It's so easy nowadays to get in contact with people that there's no excuse. The thing is just targeting those people and getting them to sell.
So yeah, you're hitting houses that are off market then most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Okay. Especially now in this day and age where due to COVID, there's no foreclosures. So there's literally no foreclosures on the market. And if there is, you're gonna have. The other day, I made an offer to a house on MLS. That was a fixer-upper. They told me I had 57 other offers, cash offers.
Jeez.
Yeah, so how are you gonna compete with that? Especially when people are overpaying.
Yeah, they're super overpaying right now.
Yeah, they're super overpaying right now. So the best source right now is just go directly to sellers.
What do you say your closing rate? Not like literally closing on the home, but like what's your cold call kind of closure rate? Like how many houses or people do you normally contact before you kind of land one?
So I don't have the exact number in front of me. It's about 1,000 dials to one good solid lead that like you want to sell. So about $1,000 we would take. I think it was like 7 something last time I checked. And so
that's basically 1,000 dials, though. It's not necessarily like 1,000 conversations.
Yeah, it's not connects. Right. Correct. Yeah. The biggest thing in this business is a follow up. In any sales business,
Right.
It's just consistently following up because they'll tell you no today, but next week circumstances change.
Right.
Especially distressed sellers, whether it's a code violation list or whatever it may be, you're constantly getting hounded on the phones from other investors. You're getting constant letters, not just from investors, but from the city. Like, hey, you haven't paid your taxes. Hey, you have these violations. you know? So it's just pretty much catching them on the right day and the right follow-up.
Now, well, how old are you, first of all?
I turned 29 this month.
Oh, really? Yeah, I turned 29 this year also.
Yeah.
Yeah, in September.
On the 20th.
Oh, on the 20th. Nice.
Yeah, March 20th.
Oh, man. So yeah, at 29, I mean, would you say basically like 5 years ago, I guess, prior to your journey kind of starting in this, like, are you happy kind of where you are? Like, are you kind of like, have you exceeded your expectations in doing this, or kind of what's your feelings having done this?
I mean, I could always do better.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. I could always have done better and do better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not satisfied, to be honest. I feel like I could be doing a lot more and reaching out to a lot more people and, you know, doing a lot more with the resources I have. You know, it's something I need to fine tune.
Now, do you have a 9 to 5, or do you have another job while you do this?
No, full time for the last 5-6 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when is the last time you had like a 9 to 5 job?
Oh man, I've had too many jobs. My first job ever, I was actually in the Army right after high school, and then I got into sales. I worked for AT&T for a little bit, and then me and my buddy opened up a car dealership.
Oh, really?
And
nice.
Just buying and selling cars, and then that's kind of how we got into real estate. And went from car sales, real estate, and then just kind of real estate full time.
Yeah.
And then ever since, just been doing it full time.
Nice. And you know, doing this full time, do you see yourself doing anything else at this point, or like what's the future hold for you?
I don't think I want to be wholesaling for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Necessarily full time. I'd like to move on to bigger deals like land development, buying buildings and so forth. That's the end goal, honestly. But I think wholesaling is a great way to build capital.
Now, do you
easily? Sorry.
I was gonna say, do you own rental properties?
I do. I have 2 rental properties, but I'm currently selling them. I'm in the process of selling them.
Is it just because of what's making you sell them, or how long have you had both the properties?
I've had one that has sold a couple, like a year and a half back, and then the one I have now, I'm in the process of putting up the rent and then putting it on the market, just because I've owned it for about a year and a half, and I bought it very, very good. Like I literally bought the house for free.
Oh, nice.
Put zero down.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything, and I have over 6 figures in equity. So once I sell it, I just want to take that money and just keep it there for whatever's coming.
Right. Now, are you selling it because the market's hot right now? Like the seller market is hot? Okay.
I think, I mean, I could be wrong, you know, obviously, but I don't see the area that it's in being worth any more than what it is right now.
Right. It's kind of maxed out. Yeah.
At least not in the near future. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be double in the next 5 years, but I'm comfortable selling, you know?
Yeah. And now you're going to hold on to that money, so you're not going to look for rental properties at the moment after you get rid of these?
Not right now. I have a property under contract that I might keep to Airbnb if I don't wholesale it. I have it, you know, I'm marketing it out, but here in the design district. But I would like to dabble in Airbnb just because I know it's hot right now, especially here in Miami, where it's like the only place that's open. But I would kind of want to just keep the money and see where things are going to go. You know, I'd rather have the cash on my side and then figure it out later than be like, oh man, I wish I would have sold it. You know, if there is a crash or whatever may happen.
Right. All right.
Just better be safe than sorry.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I mean, it doesn't hurt at this moment to have cash in your pocket. Yeah. I mean, it's always good to have some type of fun there. Now, going back to the wholesaling real quick, what was the biggest turnaround as far as cash profits that you made off a deal?
Like largest deal?
Yeah, largest single deal. Yeah, what was the?
Was one that we made about 120,000.
Nice. And you say we, so it was you and your partner. You guys split that, or?
Yeah, I was with a company before, Capitalized Investments.
Okay.
And then we was 3 best friends. We all worked together, and we kind of just went our separate ways a couple years back.
Okay.
But between us, we killed it a lot, man. We did our first year. We did about, I think it was 96 deals.
Wow.
Transactions. Our first deal. Yeah.
Wow.
And this one was a house in Hialeah. The realtor brought us the deal, right? He's like, hey, you guys want it? I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, we put it under contract,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually brought us the buyer too.
Really?
Yeah, he brought us the buyer.
Wow.
But I'm talking about like we never closed on the house. All we
Mm-hmm.
put was I think it was like $9,000 in deposit or something like that.
Right.
And we ended up wholesaling it for over $120,000 over.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those though.
Nice. Now, what's the lowest, or I mean the most minimal amount that you did?
Actually, during COVID, I had a short sale. So when you have a short sale, you have to double close it because you can't assign a short sale.
Right.
I think I made $1,200.
Okay. Yeah. And how long did it
just
take?
Because like 45 days. But it's just
Okay.
the smallest deals are always the ones that give you the biggest headaches.
Right. Yeah.
Always. I really had to work those $1,200.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Really bad.
have you lost money wholesaling or? Yeah.
I've never lost money, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
I have broken even before.
Okay.
I did lose deposit during COVID just because I had a house wholesaled, and you know, I think it was around May, and you know, everything was just kind of shut down. The buyer's like, hey, I don't want this anymore. And I was like, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Because I had the chance to close on it, and I wish I would have, because somebody ended up buying it and ended up selling it for like $110,000 more after we fixed it up. So I was like, but I didn't know where things were going. You know, I could have gone down, I could have gone up, but I only lost like $3,000.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't like too bad, but
right.
Could have been worse.
Now, is that the good thing about wholesaling, is that it's safe? Like, you know, as far as for your money goes, obviously flipping a house, I mean, you close on it, you put the money up,
Yeah.
you know, you gotta fix it up. You could find you know, plumbing or electrical. You could find,
counties,
you know, liens,
surprises.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
I have a house right now. I have to do a $7,000 roof. I thought the roof was good.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, definitely.
Wholesaling is a little safer.
Wholesaling is the safest way. Little money out of pocket with the best returns. Reason why, besides escrow, there's nothing else you got to put up. Right. You know, the end buyer puts everything up. And if you have such a good deal, you could tell the end buyer to, hey, put my escrow for me.
Now, if you're going to start wholesaling, like you mentioned, so what would you have to have in your bank account to start wholesaling?
Nothing, to be honest, because it's all on you. Because on a contract, when you're filling out the deposit part, you can literally put $1. So all you're gonna, as long as the seller and you both agree, that's all it's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
Whatever you put on that contract.
Now, when would you lose your deposit? Like you said, after what, the 15 days or something? Correct.
Yeah. After, if you don't cancel by then.
Okay.
You know, if you don't sign a release and cancellation, or if you don't perform to anything else on the contract, whatever you had agreed with the seller, then at that point you would be losing your deposit. Correct.
Now, who has to sign off on the assignment? Just you and the investor, or the realtor or seller of the home has to like sign off on that?
Me, it would be me and the person I'm selling it to. So the investor be like, hey, I'm gonna assign you my contract. So they're essentially buying that whole 12-page contract. So
yeah, so the realtor or the seller, they can't block it, or they can't tell you like, no, we don't.
No.
Okay.
It's on black and white.
Yeah. So it's assigning it, and they can't do anything. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the figure. It could be, you could literally be making $500,000. Actually, the other day I saw somebody making $398,000 on assignment fee.
Wow. That's crazy. Now, kind of talking about foreclosures, like you said, I mean, how do you go about buying a foreclosure? Because I guess everybody assumes like foreclosures are like, you know, wouldn't those kind of come with like the most liens and stuff like that with them? Or is, because it's being sold, it's good to go? Like, how does that buying a foreclosure work? So
it depends the banks you're dealing with, usually. But as long as you write in your contract that you want clear title, no open permits, no liens, then you'll be good.
Okay.
If the bank states that you need to buy it as is where it is, then that means you're taking it with like all faults, all violations, all liens and stuff like that. So you just gotta be knowledgeable and know where you're writing on your contract to protect yourself. Because you could be buying it, you know, subject to clear title, and then something pops up. At that point, you have the ability to ask for a reduction. You could cancel, or you could assume it, depending on what it is. But foreclosures, yeah, they're a great way. I've flipped hundreds of them. I've wholesaled hundreds of them.
Now, are they normally the lowest in price, or the price really, just because it's a foreclosure, it doesn't mean it's the like dirt cheap?
No, not necessarily. People always have an assumption that foreclosures are the cheapest,
Mm-hmm.
but right now, for example, I think there's probably like 20 something foreclosures on the market, which is like extremely low, at least here in Miami.
Right.
And they're all at market value.
Right. Yeah.
Just because of the demand right now. You know, the banks are pretty much flipping their own houses.
Now, I guess
No
a
way.
foreclosure doesn't necessarily mean too. I think sometimes when we think foreclosures, we think it's just like somebody trashed the place. It's like
Oh, not at
just
all.
looking. Yeah. So
I
I mean,
thought, yeah, I thought like cookie cutter, perfect houses, maybe a little outdated, but nothing crazy.
right.
Foreclosure is just the status of the property. It has
Mhm.
nothing to do with the conditions or price wise or anything.
Yeah, it's just simply that the person pretty much couldn't make their payments. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. They couldn't make their payments, and the bank just foreclosed it.
yeah.
Foreclosure is just the process. That's all it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, where are you doing most of your business at?
I do most of Miami-Dade and Broward.
Okay. So you do come up
Miami-Dade and
you do
Broward.
come up to Broward a little bit. Now, where do you see kind of is there like a specific area where you've seen the best for you, or like what do people look for? Is it just kind of you look all over as far as like areas?
So I kind of look all over, just
Mm-hmm.
because I'm very central. And I was born and raised here, so I know Miami. And I
Right.
know, Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
I know it like the back of my hand.
Right.
And I've been doing this long enough where I know the numbers. I look for numbers. I don't
Okay,
really
yeah.
fall in love with areas because you're limiting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like numbers game. If I'm buying at X price and selling at this price, and I got to put this much into it to get this much return, let's do it. I don't care if it's in Fort Lauderdale, Lauderhill, Kendall, Homestead, I don't
Yeah.
So I don't try to limit myself, especially now with how tight things are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't limit myself though, and I market everywhere too.
Yeah. So basically, like you said, I mean, it's just a numbers game. So basically, it doesn't matter who, what, where, kind of the status of the house, whatever. Like if the numbers work, the
Correct. Yeah.
numbers work. You just
A lot of people say I don't want to buy in the hood. I love the hood, and the hood loves me.
yeah.
That's where I've had a lot of success.
Yeah.
Houses, I'd rather get a house in the hood than get a house in a very nice neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's a lot more buyers for that.
Right. And
Like I said, it's a numbers thing.
And when you say buyers, you're talking strictly wholesalers, right? Like there's more wholesalers.
Wholesalers and buyers if you're gonna fix and flip it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, well, I feel like we've done a good job talking about wholesaling. So yeah, speaking of fix and flip, let's just kind of move into that conversation now too.
Yes,
So I know you said you did like 96 contracts that 1 year with wholesaling and stuff like that. What would you say is your average number of wholesale, or roughly, if you don't know the exact number, wholesales a year, and then how many flips do you do a year?
Well, I've recently started doing more flips. I've always been the wholesale, like, get rid of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to adjust to the market. So right now, the way things are, you're going to maximize your money by doing fix and flips.
Right, just because
compared to
people are
wholesale.
looking for houses to buy right now. End
Correct,
user,
yeah.
And you can probably make
And
more money off that right now, rehabbing a house than an investor.
Correct, and wholesale. Exactly, correct. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had properties in the contract where it makes sense to wholesale it just because I'm literally going to make the same amount as I would with flipping it. So, just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, right now it's the time to flip. Last year, I think I did 7 rehabs, so 7 fix and flips, and I wholesaled about, I'm mistaken, I think it was 32 deals.
Okay, nice.
Last year.
Yeah.
And I ended up keeping like 6 or 7.
So what's your goal this year? Like you said, to do more flips this year?
Yeah, so this year I want to do 20.
Nice.
20 fix and flips, which I think I'll be able to attain it. And I don't necessarily have a number on wholesale. I have a figure. I like to make $500,000 in assignment fees. So I don't necessarily have like, I want to do 20 wholesales. I look at it more as profit wise because I could do 5 deals, but if each deal nets me $100,000, it's a lot easier than doing 20 deals, netting me $20,000 each. Or whatever it may be.
Right.
I'm trying to work smart, not hard.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you flip a home, I mean, again, like I said, I've seen on your stories. I mean, a lot of those houses, man, they're rough looking. So, I mean, are you do you look strictly for the roughest of the rough, or when you? I mean,
it depends.
Yeah. Again, is it just a numbers game at the end of the day?
It's a numbers game. Yeah. Thankfully, I have a very good partner. He's been in the construction game for
nice.
As long as I've been in real estate, and he's a guru when it comes to that. I'm the marketing guru, acquiring guru, and when it comes to construction, that's his thing. Like he's the bomb at that when it comes to numbers. And thankfully, I've learned a lot from him. where I can go in and also make an assumption too. But when we walk a property together, we got our numbers to a T.
Yeah. Because I know when when you first started flipping, like, again, when I watch all the YouTube videos, all the people, they talk about, like, for your first couple flips, like, just try to look for something that's just cosmetic fixes.
Something that just paint, power wash, maybe do a little kitchen, nothing crazy, nothing where you have to knock down, nothing where you have to add something. Like, don't do that. No. Get into a cookie cutter, because those are the best deals. And that's still what I look for to this day.
Yeah.
I don't try to get into anything too crazy.
Right. So yeah, most of those houses then you're posting that look like super, super rough, you're definitely just probably going to wholesale those ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I like the cookie cutters, something I'm in and out.
One of them you put that I looked, and I would maybe have to look at it again to get the exact thing, but you put that it had like 1.2 million in like liens or something.
I know which one that is. That was in Apalaca.
Yeah, like explain that. So like, you didn't obviously, did you take on that one, or you?
No, actually that one I would have taken it on. I'm not scared of liens, because those liens you can negotiate it with the city, and you pay a certain percentage. Because when the city puts a violation on a house or whatever it may be, a lot of times those violations are like $150 a day.
Oh, okay.
It's called a per diem. So that one, for example, I know what property you're talking about. That one was a foreclosure. So, foreclosure process here in Florida takes years. So imagine $150 a day. Plus interest, plus all the things, it adds up very quickly. So the house probably fixed up was worth maybe 270, 280 still to this day. And, $1.2 million in liens, like, come on.
Right.
So what you got to do is you correct it, whatever the lien or violation was for, and then you go to the city and you go to magistrate and then you mitigate it. And usually it's a small percentage that you got to pay. But it's not too hard. It's just that scares a lot of people. I feel like the cities just try and put that amount to get it from the bank. Hey, there's 1.2 million violation,
Yeah.
So bring that money over here.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen this new, I guess like from TikTok and a couple places, and I didn't even know this, that you can buy tax liens on the house.
Yeah, that's another game. Yeah. So you can buy somebody's backed up taxes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the exact process. I've never done it.
Okay, so you've never done that. Okay, yeah.
Nah, I know you need to have a lot of capital for that, because not every property goes through.
Right.
And that's, for example, taxes on a house here probably be like, let's say $5,000.
Right.
If you buy 3 years worth, that's $15,000. And then they pay you a small interest.
I heard it was like 15%. Well, I heard it was like 15% or something. So somebody was
way lower than that.
It's even lower than
that. It's like 0.0 something. It's like something
yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So it makes sense when you have a lot of money to just buy up hundreds.
It would be like another thing to add to your investment portfolio if you wanted to diversify. Like, all right, I'm gonna stash a little money over here.
Because that's like buying a note. You would have to go through a foreclosure process and foreclose on them and this whole thing. At any time they could just pay back their taxes, or they sell the house, they pay it back, and then you had $15,000 laying there for 3 years, and you made 0.20 or whatever it is on it.
Now, somebody was telling me about that though, like also because by buying the tax lien, if they don't pay it off, generally, I mean, it's going to be foreclosed on, and then they were saying that you get the first dibs, pretty much on buying the house.
Taxes.
Yeah, because you have the taxes. So. Again, he was also saying that, it doesn't necessarily, like you said, I mean, it still could mean that they're going to sell it for market value. So it's not like, but you do get first dibs in case it is something that.
Correct. Yeah, you have a first lien position or whatever.
Right. Maybe. Yeah. But all right, so back to flipping. So which one do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy wholesaling, the process of wholesaling more, or do you like the process of flipping?
And they both have their pros and cons, to be honest. There's nothing cooler than having a property like under contract and then having that problem, like, man, should I wholesale it or should I fix and flip it? You're just like, so I love having that problem because like, it's just like, take a quick money now or take more, a couple months down, So I like fix and flipping personally, just because I love seeing the finished product.
Right. There's something satisfying about that. I think there's a reason there's like 12 TV shows on TV, because it's just so satisfying for everybody to.
Yeah, exactly. To watch.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's nothing also like wholesaling and, making 30, 40, 50, within days or weeks and not doing anything. Like I don't see half these houses ever. I barely go see them. So like, there's nothing to like making money on the internet. It's awesome.
Right. No, that's cool. Have you wholesaled any place outside of Florida? Like, have you done any deals outside of your Broward and Miami-Dade in
Yeah,
Florida?
I've done in Cape Coral, Orlando, Jacksonville, Sebring, and Marco Island. What
Okay, yeah.
else?
So you've branched out. Not a lot,
Yeah,
or like kind
before
of one in each, or kind of.
a couple in each, just
Okay.
like deals that kind of fell on my lap.
Right. Yeah. Just they
And I
come
was
up.
like, I'm pretty sure I could sell this. You know, it has a good
Yeah.
margin.
Yeah.
And a couple of them I sold to people I know that buy in those areas or develop. But I try to stick down here. A lot of people try to expand, but I think you should master your market and have a good presence here.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be fine. Because South Florida is very tough, but you know, if you're consistent, you'll get a deal.
Right. I always think the great thing about Florida is there's so much volume down here, though, too. It's like it is super
It's crazy.
competitive and everything, but it's just like, I mean, there's so much of the pie, you know, even if you just take a little
Yeah,
piece of it,
huge.
like you're
And it's
still
gonna
gonna
get
be doing
bigger.
good. Yeah, it's getting
It's gonna
bigger.
get bigger. And there's a lot of houses, man. Not just that, there's a lot of messed up houses.
Right.
There's a
Well, I
lot of
said
messed
too,
up
I
houses.
said, you know, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I was thinking it's like, man, we do have a lot of older population here.
Yeah.
So it's like as they kind of, you know, go away and stuff, you know, they don't always fix up their houses. So yeah, I feel like Florida's constantly, yeah, got, you know, outdated
Probate
houses and
is a great niche. You know, there's probate's one of the biggest niches here in Florida, just because we do have an older population. You know, and unfortunately, you do have pass eventually, and whoever inherits that property, they probably don't want to keep it, or it's run down. They don't have the money to fix it. I'm actually closing on probate on Monday.
Nice.
I've been working a deal for like 4 months, and the heirs, they live in Atlanta, and they just don't want the property to run down, and you know, that one I'm actually gonna wholesale.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard what wholesaling is?
Wholesaling?
Wholesaling.
Oh, wholetailing. No, what's that?
Yeah. Okay. So wholetailing is when you find like a property that you said that's like a cookie cutter, you know, just needs minor stuff, but it's financeable. So what you do is you close on that property and you pretty much just relist it on the MLS and sell it. So it's a fix and flip without putting little to no work into it. So you don't have to change the kitchen technically, or you might just paint it and pressure wash it and just throw it back on the market and sell it to a finance buyer.
Okay. Now, how is there a limit to what you can raise the price without it like being an issue, like legally? Is there any legal like no?
So the more the merrier. The more you're gonna get taxed on.
Yeah, because basically, I mean, you're when it's normally in probate, are you you're not necessarily buying it for market value, right? Or are you?
No. So let's use this one for example. I'm buying at $200,000. I'm gonna close on it, just do minor things to it, and I'm gonna relist it for about $315.
Okay.
So
so what would be the reason for them selling it to you? Like when you get it appraised, they'll probably appraise for more than 200, right? Or they're just trying to get rid of it for whatever is left on the mortgage.
The house has been empty for 6 years. Nobody's lived in it.
Oh wow, 6 years.
Yeah, they're behind on taxes.
Okay.
They don't live here locally. They tried getting a contractor to give them an estimate. The estimate was too high. They don't want to pay for it. I'm fast, I'm quick, and they just want money now. You know, everybody has different circumstances where they want to sell.
Right. All right. So when you flip a house, what, like, again, financially, what are you obligated to kind of go into it with? And like, again, kind of explain for a beginner, again, what they would maybe need in their bank account. Again, I know it's hard to tell because it's the properties, property values, all that stuff is different. But again, for a beginner looking for something, I mean, what would your suggestion be on a flip?
So I buy with a hard money lender. You know, I'm not buying this house and putting my own $200,000. I buy with my lender. So a hard money lender, they're gonna give you rates starting at like 80% loan to value. So that means that you're gonna put down 20% of that purchase price. So let's say this one, they gave me 80%. For the sake of argument, I'd be putting down 40,000 plus the repairs. And you know, it's way better than buying the 200 out of your own money, plus construction, plus all that stuff. Now there are lenders that give you, you know, up to 95%. There's lenders that give you 100% financing. Like I've done that before, where you buy the deal literally for free. You know, obviously there's going to be more fees and more interest, but you're buying it with zero money. You know, anything you make, it's pure profit. So to me, like I've told friends, I've told everybody, it's all in the deal. It's all in the house you have under contract. Don't worry about buyers. Don't worry about anything. It's what you have under contract. Work on getting the best deal possible. You don't need that much money. To put a number on it, I'd probably say to get started and to be comfortable, I'd say have at least like 30 to 40
Okay.
in your bank account.
Yeah, because I was going to say, can you do a hard money lender for the loan or for the purchase? And then can you get another hard money lender for the repair costs and stuff like that?
So there's a lot of hard money lenders that, like, for example, mine, he does give me construction money if I want to use it. But obviously, if I use it, I'm going to get charged interest on it. So I try not to use it. Or I use it as leverage to have another project. I can pull that money and then use it to close on the other one. Like little tricks like that. But yeah, you could do a house they only put 10%, plus they give you the repair costs. So you literally come out of pocket 10%.
Now I can't remember any of the hard money websites now, but again, where do you find a hard money lender?
Oh man, there's so many.
Yeah, there's like Lending Tree, right? There's
Lending Tree. There's man, there's a lot.
Yeah, I know there's like 3 main ones that like most people probably see commercials for and see things.
Yeah, Lending Tree. I don't know them off the top of my head. My lender's a private lender.
Okay. Yep.
But those are the best to go to. So somebody in your immediate family that has the funds available, because they can lend it from their IRA, from anywhere. Okay. And if it's a good enough deal, they're gonna do it.
Right.
A lot of times you can even, for a beginner, I would say split the deal with somebody that's already doing it in your market. Like let's say you bring me a deal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, dude, let's partner up on it. I'll put everything. And you're gonna learn. And you're gonna walk away with half too.
Right. Is that what
nobody's gonna say no to free money?
Right. Is that kind of like me and my dad, like I said, want to go into it eventually, and it's more so just for like a father-son thing for one. Also, awesome. But then also like he's very hands-on. I'm very hands-on too. So it's just something to kind of make extra money and be able to do. So the idea basically of doing it would be either hard money lenders is what I figured, or like you said, I mean he's 50 or he's 62, so he does have access to like his 401k and stuff like that. So it's like using some of that stuff. Would you suggest, obviously, if you have your own money, like a 401k, kind of use or take a loan? He has access to his now because he's over it, but like even I have a 401k, so use your own, or would you say go for a hard money lender?
I would go for hard money. Reason why is less money out of pocket. You're going to be able to do 2. But if another property pops up, you're going to be able to close on it also. And also it's less liability from you. God forbid the market takes a downturn, you're only out 20 grand compared to 200 something.
Well, say you get a hard money lender and something happens and it doesn't go through. I mean, you obviously owe the hard money lender all.
Right, they would foreclosure. Yeah, they would foreclose on you.
Okay.
But I mean, if that were the case, you're buying this property already at 50 cents on the dollar, 60 cents on the dollar.
Right.
If the market takes a 20% correction, you still have another 30%.
Right.
You should have enough cushion there where if the market does take a downturn, you can still sell it. Worst case, come out even.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about the deal. It's all about the numbers.
Right.
You should always anticipate that into your numbers. Never buy a tight deal. I'll never buy a tight deal. If a deal doesn't have a 6-figure spread, I'm not buying it.
That's why I was going to ask you. So it's got to have pretty much at least a 6-figure upturn or
it depends on the rehab and needs, but me comfortably in this market, I want at least 6 figures minimum. Yeah, that's why it's hard for me to buy a deal from another wholesaler. That's why I usually source them out myself.
Right. And that's what it makes sense because even say on the worst of worst, like your budget's blown by like 20 grand, you're not.
You still have cushion.
Yeah, you still have a cushion. It's not anything crazy. And have you came across? I know you haven't done as many flips, but same kind of as your wholesale where I said the most you made and the less you made. My question on the flip part is like, we'll start with most you made and then, the least you've made off a flip so far. On a
fix and flip, the most I made is actually on a property. Hopefully we're closing on this week.
Nice.
Same thing with a probate.
Okay.
Small house at the 3-1 in West Little River here. We bought it for $130,000 and we're selling it for $280,000.
Nice.
We put about 15 grand into it.
And that's you and your one other partner currently?
Yeah, my partner. Yeah. Correct.
And then did you guys do a hard money lender for that?
Correct. Yeah, we use a hard money lender.
So
and we only put 10% down.
So what would, if you made, you said 120, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would actually go, what out of that would you have to give to the hard money lender? Any 10%. Of that? Okay, it's 10% of that.
Well, 10%, I'm putting down to purchase the house.
Okay.
What you're saying is what they're charging in interest?
Well, I'm just saying, so if you got it for, you said what, what was the price?
This one was 130.
And then 250. You're selling it.
275.
275. So it's about 145, right?
Correct.
So how much of that would actually go to you and your partner, and how much of that would actually go, like, you would have to profit, basically? What's the profit and what's the expense off that?
Gotcha. Our expenses are just the interest on the 120,000 or 130,000.
Okay.
It's 10% interest what we pay. Again, it's pretty good numbers.
So you just take that out of your profits. From your profits, you just cut a
Correct.
check and pay.
Yeah, it's all interest every month. So I don't know how much our mortgage is there. I think it's like $1,200, something, plus taxes and stuff. So we would pay those holding costs, and that's pretty much it.
And then you guys would split the rest.
And we split the rest, yeah.
Nice. Now, as far as, again, you said the interest you pay, how long did you have the house for?
So this house, we closed on it in late November.
Okay. So you paid mortgage for
December, January, February, March, and hopefully it doesn't get to April.
Right.
And also you have to pay insurance, electricity, water, stuff like that.
And then now you said you got to pay him 10% each month.
Correct, yeah.
Or it's not just flat 10% off the dollar amount. It's 10%.
No.
So it's
10% each month off the finance.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interest only. So if it was $120,000, let's say they lent us, we paid $1,200 each month. That's
each
interest
month.
only.
Okay, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Nice. And then whatever the mortgage was, you paid, but that mortgage, I mean, most of that.
Yeah, the mortgage will be the $1,200.
Yeah.
That'd be the mortgage.
But some of that's equity going back to you guys anyways at the end of the day, right? I mean.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So it helps out. No, I mean, that's killer. What's the least you've made off a flip so far?
Man, the least, there was one of my first deals. Actually, I've lost money on a flip when I think about it. Down in Miami, it was actually my first flip, I want to say, or my second flip.
Okay.
But I kind of, with my previous partners, we kind of were weighing over our heads. We bought a house with violations. We bought we thought we were at the top of the top.
Yeah.
We thought we knew it all, and then we each ended up losing about 26,000.
Wow, yeah.
Each of us. Yeah. Yeah. Especially at that time when we were like just starting up and stuff like that. But it's a lesson. I didn't go to college. That was my semester. I learned a lot from it, and I haven't lost ever since.
Yeah.
Ever since, I'm like, all right, stay away from this, stay away from that. This house was just bad because it was a converted garage, and they wanted us to convert it back into a room. I'm sorry, it was a converted garage. That was a garage that was converted to a room, and they wanted us to convert it back to a garage. But in order to do that, you had to raise the ceiling, and you couldn't raise the ceiling without raising the whole roof in the entire house, pretty much.
Oh,
so we're like, all right, you know what? Let's just pass this on to an investor, take our loss, and let's go forward. Because we already had too much money dumped in there. We had a bad hard money loan, and it was a more expensive house. I think we bought it like at 340.
Yeah.
So 10-20% with hard money. It's a big interest payment every month. So yeah, we just earned it.
Well, no, I mean, I think that's a cool kind of story because you said it's right at the beginning. You lost 26 grand. I mean, some people, again, I mean, especially that was 5 years ago. So, yeah. I mean, and that would, you'd be around the age of like coming out of college in a sense. Most people get done right anywhere from 22 to 24. So, a lot of people's first jobs out of college aren't that good. I mean, when I came out of college, I mean, I think I was working at Lowe's, because I had just moved to Florida, and I don't think I worked there a full year, but even if I did work there a full year, I probably would make $25K for that year, working at Lowe's. And so basically you almost lost a whole year's worth of pay for somebody, but you pushed past it. And I think that's a cool story because some people would have, the fear would have been like, look, I can't do this again. I can never lose this money. Like, what am I doing? So I think that's cool that you push past it and learn from it. I think that's the most thing for a lot of hustlepreneurs out there that, it's pushing past that fear, pushing past failure and learning from it. And now look at you. I mean, 5 years later, and again, you're doing this full time, and like you said, you've never really lost like that again.
I was fortunate to be able to be in that position to
Mm-hmm.
lose that
Mm-hmm.
and, take it as a lesson.
Right.
I wasn't too mad. Obviously, I was upset still to this day, but you can't look at it like that.
Right.
Just don't worry, just make it back.
Yeah.
Just make it back. I think right after, if I'm not mistaken, I closed that deal for that big deal for 140 something.
Yeah, so it came around. See,
So
it's like
yeah,
that. It's like that
it
picture.
always,
I love that picture where it's like the guy's mining, or two guys are like
yeah, and it
mining,
says like
and
he
like
gives up and he's like this close to the
yeah,
gold.
and then the gold's on the other
Yeah,
side. Like same thing. Like you could have stopped and you would have never got that deal. Or never hit
yeah,
that.
for
And I'm
sure.
sure when you hit that, it was like, all right, this is it. This is what's up. This is how you make money right here.
Yeah, literally. Fortunate to have that problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool, man. No, I've appreciated everything. I always wrap up each podcast kind of with, I have some general questions I like to ask people. So let me pull it up. So first question is influential people. So who are kind of like I always just use the number 3, but like 3 most kind of influential people to you when it comes to real estate and stuff like that. Like who's influenced you along the way? It could have been 5 years ago. It
Um,
could have been, to this day still.
Man, one Robert Kiyosaki, his
Yeah, yeah.
book like really opened my eyes.
Which
I've
book?
read that book at least 6. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
I've literally read that book 6, 7 times easy.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets me hyped every single time.
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever I feel doubt or something about the business or anything, just read that book.
Mm-hmm.
It really opens your eyes. Another person, influential in real estate.
It could be in life
person,
too.
but
It could just be in life too. That's just kind of helped motivate you along the way. Whether it's just anything.
man, who's somebody else? The Rock.
Okay. Yep.
That guy pumps me up
Mm-hmm.
all the time, man. Anytime I see something from him, he just makes me want to get up and do something.
Yeah, I'm a
Another
fangirl
person,
of The Rock too. The Rock's the Rock's the
yeah,
man,
dude. That's
man.
probably the only
Yeah.
person I'll get
Yeah.
starstruck from,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another person down here would be one of my mentors, Ariel. He was a big flipper down here. He still is. I was acquiring for him
I
for a
think I
bit.
just
That guy,
followed him because I think some of your stories you were posting were from him, right? I think that's who.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think I just followed him too.
Yeah, man. That guy, 40, 60 flips a year. Easily. Like nothing, like cake.
Nice.
It makes a killing.
Nice.
Definitely him.
Cool. And then resources. What are kind of like we mentioned? We brought it up somewhat throughout the podcast with YouTube, the podcast. But if you had to pinpoint kind of like 3 or so of the best resources for people to get knowledge on this stuff, what would it be?
Well, obviously this podcast now.
Yeah, nice.
I say YouTube for
Mhm.
sure. Anything on YouTube with TTP, which is Talk to People. Real Estate Disruptors is another great podcast I listen to, and they're on YouTube too. And Bigger Pockets. Just for those 3, you'll have more enough information to get started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bigger Pockets. I just recently bought, over Christmas, I bought the ABC, or no, which one? Rental. I think I did. I bought their rental investment.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yeah. So
They talk about the BRRRR strategy and all that.
Yeah, I haven't started reading it yet. I ended up going through the exam of becoming a loan officer and stuff. So I've been pretty busy with that. But I have those books over on the shelf to read for sure. And then Bigger Pockets. I just followed Branden.
Brandon Hatcher, I think it is. Brandon Turner.
Branden Turner. Yeah, I just followed him on Instagram about a month or so ago. So yeah, I got to start listening to the
That lives a
podcast.
life.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, it's good. I mean, that's why I think the biggest thing for people too is like, yeah, I mean, surround yourself with, if it's on Instagram, if like follow all the people that motivate you, follow all the people on there that are, in your niche, or if you want to get involved in real estate, follow all the best real estate guys on Instagram, and like you said, watch the
Exactly.
YouTube.
After that, it creates confidence in you. You see that it works.
Yeah.
I know hundreds of guys that, man, this works.
Yeah.
And even if you don't do it full time, like it's good to know. You're gonna buy a house eventually. You're gonna want a rental property.
Right.
It's good to just have this information.
Mm-hmm.
They don't teach you this in school.
Yeah. And then my final question is kind of, again, where do you see yourself? And again, we kind of brought this up a little bit, but do you have a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal? Like you said, you don't necessarily want to be wholesaling forever. But if you had to say, we'll give it, we'll be 30 next year. So by 40, what's your goal by 40? Like, where do you see your life at 40?
Well, right now, in the next couple of years, let's say till I'm like 35, it's pretty much just, I think Bobby Cashel said, stack and rack. Just keep stacking money, keep looking for opportunities to put that money, whether it's new businesses, whether it's buying existing businesses, whether it's buying cash flowing properties, whatever it is, just keep stacking. By the time I'm 40, hopefully by that time I've owned a couple dozen, if not 100 units, and live off of that and keep creating more, keep adding on to the portfolio.
So you rather eventually you want to own buildings at some point, like you were saying?
Correct, yeah.
Apartment buildings or commercial?
Buildings, yeah.
So yeah, stay with residential.
I like both.
both.
Yeah, I definitely want to do both. I'm learning now the commercial side. I've been learning for a couple months now. Witnessing friends buy warehouses and stuff like that for their businesses, and kind of observing them and seeing that learning curve. But yeah, definitely, I think warehouse is awesome. I think it's gonna be the future.
I've noticed down here, man, because I'm from Michigan, so when I moved down here, it's like, yeah, you realize how many people's headquarters are down here, like how many business headquarters are down here. You realize how many warehouse buildings. I mean, they're popping up warehouse buildings. Because I worked for a distribution company.
And self-storages.
Yeah, and it's self-storage. Yeah, public storage. So when I moved here too, I had I worked with a personal trainer, and yeah, he would get checks because him and his dad started a storage company in New Jersey. And yeah, the guy, and he's been getting checks, I think, for like the last 20 years. Like, yeah, it's just.
There's nothing like getting that check.
Yeah, it's just been a constant thing. Because, I mean, yeah, how does storage doesn't, I mean, everybody
everybody needs storage, especially down here. And now you have a lot of like these e-commerce stores popping up. They need to keep their things somewhere.
Right.
You have these ghost restaurants now. Uber Eats is doing. They need to have their little restaurant somewhere. So I love warehousing. That's something I definitely want to get into, self-storage. It kind of goes hand in hand with development and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about Florida, man. I don't know, it's just Florida. Something about Florida.
I love Miami, man. I'll never move Miami.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I don't live in Miami. I live in Broward, but
yeah,
for me coming from Michigan, it's like, again, I miss my family and stuff up there, but I just try talking them to move down here because I'm like, man, Florida is amazing.
Yeah, why not?
I love it.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity here. There's so much money here, man. Like,
it is.
The people you meet here, and nothing beats it.
Right.
Nothing beats
it. It doesn't.
And it's only getting started, to be honest. It's only getting started.
Oh, I know. I mean, that's why I also wanted to get involved in real estate again, is because, I mean, people are still flooding here like crazy. I mean, there's a reason there's no houses right now is because of COVID. Everybody's, flying here. Everybody's.
And it's going to keep getting worse for at least, I think, this foreseeable year. At least.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, until things actually kind of calm down. And then my wife constantly gets targeted by Port St. Lucie right now. I know Port St. Lucie is kind of the next city that's trying to like develop because they're building houses like crazy. They just need to build more entertainment and more stuff up there to make people want to go. But they're definitely putting up houses like crazy up there. And again, I used to sell sports supplements to like juice bars, and one of the smoothie bar owners, he's in real estate but land development. So him and a couple of his buddies are developing up in Stewart and stuff like that, just because that's the next area. Like, they're just,
you can't build out west. You have the Everglades. To the east, you have the ocean. You got to go north or south. And south doesn't get any more south too.
Yeah, I know. Homestead. So I think Homestead will always stay Homestead. I don't know. Maybe one day Homestead will end up all super populated.
There's a lot of development down there.
It is, but
there's a lot of development. I'm not a fan. My sister lives on there, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I hope Florida keeps Homestead, the little country part of
like the Redlands. And,
leave it that. We'll find space somewhere. I don't know. Keep building upwards, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. That's what everybody's doing, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Build straight up.
You buy Port St. Lucie is a great market. I know somebody big up there.
Yeah, my wife's always like, "Oh my God, look at this house! It's amazing!" And then she's like, "But guess where it is?" And it's like, "Yeah, it's in Port St. Lucie, isn't it? It's like a beautiful house for like $250. It's like Jeez.
Yeah.
They're
I
just
mean,
like
buy them
pushing
while
it.
you still get them at that price.
Well, that's why I told her. I said, well, when we get, that's where we need to invest right now. It's like put the money up
And
there.
that's probably, I'm guessing, after repair value. If you could, find a good deal, 250, you could probably pick it up at 140, to 160, give or take.
Yeah, because I'm
Awesome.
saying, yeah, that's like brand new, newly built, like marble, like it looks amazing, and they're selling them for like 250 to 350, and they're big houses, for Florida. So, but no, man, yeah. So I love it. I love the real estate industry. So that's kind of
I love it.
my thing, that's why I want to continue with. So
Right.
I look forward.
You should never not be in real estate.
I know, right? I mean, and that's the thing too. By networking and kind of looking at successful people, I mean, there's a common denominator with most of the successful people is that they invest in real estate in one way or another, even if it's not their necessarily primary.
But
thing.
they put their money into it.
Yes, and that's wealth.
It's land. They don't. I think Warren Buffett says it best. They don't make any more of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's the best. Everybody's always going to need a place to live and a roof over their head.
Right. Exactly. No, I appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate you coming on. I'm sure I'll be in contact with you just more. Definitely a cool guy. And then I'll give you your moment now to kind of let people know what your businesses are, kind of where they can find it, maybe your social media handles and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So my Instagram is broker Branden. That's Branden with an E. There you'll find, I usually post up most of my deals, or you can follow my business page, Prop Hunters _. That's where you see all the behind the scenes footage, all the bathrooms getting done, all the roofs, all the problems, all the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. And any websites or anything?
No websites.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I do. The South Florida's land buyer and South Florida's home buyer.
Okay.
Those are more for my mail and for potential sellers.
Okay.
Those are seller websites.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And I'll link everything in the description too. I'll get the links from you. So there'll be direct links to all your social media and everything in the bio. And then do you have any buddies you want to shout out their stuff? Like you have a partner, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Andy Miyares.
Nice.
Shout out my boy.
There you go. That's the business partner?
Oh, and shout out to Chris for putting us together.
Yeah, I know, right? Chris, I mean, one thing I found out about Chris, Chris knows everybody, man. I'm like, Chris knows.
Yeah,
he knows a lot of people.
Social butterfly.
I know he is, right? No, he
to be in the sales business, you have to.
Yeah, no, Chris is amazing. I'm glad he linked us. I know he was excited when I mentioned that. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I'm going to get him on the podcast because.
That's somebody I've always been trying to get into real estate, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll push him now.
No, I know. That's why I told him. I said, look, I mean, let's work on something. So I think he's excited. Yeah. I know me and him always talk the stock market too. Like we're always, our thing too is the stock market and just really trying to push that.
Yeah, we're in a little chat there. I dabble in the stock market.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you got real estate and the stock market. I mean, those are the two things like you got to.
Yeah, I use real estate to create the wealth and then, stack and then use that stack money to opportunities, man.
Yeah, there's a reason, again, the rich get richer is because they know how to stack their money. They know how to multiply it.
Yeah, you can't just rely on one thing,
Yeah, and that's what hustlepreneurs are, man. So I would put you in the category of a hustlepreneur for sure. You're out there hustling. You're an entrepreneur. You're out there doing it. So kudos to you. And like I said, I'll definitely be in touch, man. And you can stay on. And when I cut the stop the recording, you can stay on, man. I'll talk to you a little bit more.
Awesome.
All right, appreciate it, man. Again, take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, my bro.
Thank you. All right, so yeah, me and Branden just talked for, I don't know, probably another 30 minutes after I ended the conversation with him. But yeah, man, super cool guy. Definitely hit him up or check him out. He's on Instagram, like I said. But no, I mean, definitely look into what the resources that he said. YouTube, definitely check out people on YouTube when it comes to real estate investing, flipping. I know we see a ton of TV shows on HGTV and everything about flipping and all that stuff, but wholesaling isn't that widely talked about. Wholesaling definitely is a good option to look into that again, is a little bit more risk-free. But again, nothing's easy out there. I mean, again, we're hustlepreneurs for a reason. We like to hustle. There's that hustle aspect. That's what puts us above everybody else as far as like the actual effort that we put in. And again, it's about helping each other. So at the end of the day, help another person around you. We're sharing info, where to help find stuff out. I mean, Branden was super cool with me. Definitely gave me a lot of gems that some people don't like to share things because they think it's going to take away from them or whatever. Again, you just have to have confidence in your own self that, again, you'll continue on with your business. And like we said before, I mean, why does it matter what the other person's making, or why does it matter what somebody else is making? Like, you should want everybody around you to be making money, so and doing well in life and being happy. So yeah, I really appreciate having him on. I appreciate you guys for listening and watching. Definitely like and subscribe, please. Leave a comment again if you have any questions, any more questions about anything. We can definitely get those answered for you. Me and Branden said, I mean, hopefully we have episode 2 where we actually have a deal that we've done together with wholesale. So I'm looking to do one this year if possible. So definitely looking into it. But, I appreciate you guys again for joining in and tuning in. Until next time, appreciate it. Peace out.